What's up, everyone? Good to be back. A little week hiatus there, but had to enjoy the traveling all last week. Indianapolis and not really Indianapolis, but Westfield, Indiana, New Orleans. But yeah,
And I enjoyed Wisconsin for the both of us.
yeah, it was some good weather for sure. Yeah, as you can see, got my National Scouting Combine shirt on. Great time. A lot of really good people met and connections and players. Man, it's awesome to see the players there. A couple guys stood out, but Andrew McBride from McMurray, quarterback Joel Zellner, a D line from Waynesburg, and my guy Lepo. Believe he is from southeastern Louisiana. I could be wrong on that though. Don't remember. But yeah. So I was kind of surprised that there wasn't as much news as there usually is when I miss a show. But let's get into it. It's Combine week as well. We had our Combine last week. The NFL's Combine this week, starting in tomorrow. Tomorrow is when they will start. I believe on-field drills don't start till Wednesday, though. So college football news: the CFP officially agreeing to a 5+7 format for both the 24 and 25 seasons. That means that you'll get the 5 highest ranked conference champions. The top 4 will get byes. And then the 5th highest ranked conference champion. So the top 4 will get byes. And then the 5th one will be in the pool with the rest of the 8 teams in the first round. Next 7 highest ranked teams also will be the rest of your 12. It's really interesting though, because it's the conference champions, I believe, and then the 5th highest ranked conference champion might not be the 5th seed. I believe that's how it's going to work. It's just ranked. It's based off your ranking. So yeah. I think actually it doesn't matter. Like seed wise, I think it just matters on your ranking. If you're in, you're in. But then like however the teams are ranked, that's how they will be seeded, as far as I know. And it was interesting. The CFP also already discussing possible expansion for 26 and beyond, 14 and 16 team formats. So there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot of games, but I don't think really though it would be. You know, when you're thinking about the professionalizing of college football specifically, they're going to have to play 17 games in the NFL anyways. And, you know, possibly even 21 games if you're on a team that gets to the Super Bowl that was in the wild card weekend. So I don't necessarily hate it. I think giving more teams the opportunity to win a championship is good, but and the players get more conditioned to the NFL schedule. So coaching carousel, 2 things to note. Georgia State has found its replacement for new South Carolina tight ends coach Sean Elliott. It is right across the state hour and a half east to Athens. Georgia running backs coach Del McGee headed over to Atlanta to be the Georgia State head coach now. So congrats to Coach McGee there. And UCLA making a splash. They have hired former Commanders offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy as assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. New head coach Deshaun Foster there. Really liked by the players. We'll see if the players like Eric Bieniemy, as we've talked about his kind of checkered rumblings around the league and how players and other coaches view him. So,
yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, also got to wonder how he'll adapt or readapt to the collegiate game, both in gameplay and dealing with collegiate athletes. I mean, there's a far bigger gap in performance, especially this isn't a top flight collegiate program right now. So we'll see if he has the patience for this. This could be a very big showing for Bieniemy if it comes to if he really wants to get back to the NFL.
Yeah, and it's the lone one that we've seen NFL to college.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone and their mothers jumping ship from college football to the NFL if they can get it, or to a Power 5 school from a Group of 5 school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, maybe this was the only opportunity he had to be a coordinator for sure. Anyways, but yeah, I talked to someone this week about UCLA, and I was like, dude, UCLA is gonna get killed in the Big Ten. Like, they lost so much from the transfer portal, losing Coach Kelly to Ohio State. I don't believe a lot in what UCLA is going to put on the field. Granted, that'll come more once move toward the season in August and do some season previews and look at what they actually got in the portal and what their roster is going to look like. But as of right now, I don't believe UCLA is going to do very well this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest bombshell of the college football world this week was in the courts. A Tennessee judge ruled in favor of an injunction against the NCAA. They can no longer enforce their NIL rules, which prohibit the use of NIL as a recruiting inducement. So this is exactly why people are jumping from college to the pros and whatnot, because now all bets are off. I mean, I talked about this as well with a couple people down at Tulane, and it's going to be the same teams. I mean, it already is the same teams usually every year, but at least there's some parity with who's going to make it into the playoff, But now the richest schools are going to win. Bama, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma. The teams with the most money are going to win because they can pay all their players what they want.
Yeah, there's definitely bad, there's bad precedent too, because we don't really have legal standing for limits. We don't really know where this goes and where does this end. I mean, is this are they going to make this like a scholarship thing where they limit how many players on the active roster can receive NIL benefits? I mean, that could be discussed later down the line with how NIL deals are handled in collegiate football. But again, we're going to see a lot of problems with this kind of ruling because, exactly as Rusty pointed out, there's no seeming limitation on NIL monetary benefits to collegiate players like there are for scholarships. I mean, you can't really limit how many players receive NIL benefits at your school. So you will just get collegiate players going to the school that can pay the most through NIL because they know there's no cap on that.
Right. And it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the NCAA is going to appeal, but they're dealing with so much litigation right now that it's tough to see them coming out on the end. And as much as I don't like the NCAA for all the crap that they do. That's why I would rather work in pros because of all the rules and red tape that is in college athletics. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen. But it's just, as people not in the rooms yet with all these decisions being made, we just got to wait and hear what they say. UFL news, couple retirements. Guys ending their careers before this season. A couple big names. The Memphis Showboats, defensive back Troy Warner. Big blow to the Memphis secondary, was really solid for them last season as a corner safety hybrid. So that's going to be a tough one to lose. The Defenders losing wide receiver Josh Hammond to retirement. Massive loss. He was one of their top receivers, one of their starters there. Luckily, they got someone that I'll talk about in a second to replace him. The Generals, they lost wide receiver Alonzo Moore to retirement. Another great player was with Seattle in 2022 in the XFL, New Jersey last year in the USFL. The Renegades, they got good news. They re-signed tight end Sal Cannella, one of the top tight ends in the league, along with Birmingham's Jay Sternberger. Really excited to see Sal Cannella back in spring football, hopefully developing more and getting another NFL shot. The Showboats, they signed Generals running back Trey Williams, so this is perfect. Love this move for Memphis. It reunites Williams with his former Generals teammate Darius Victor, who is also on Memphis. They should be a formidable 1-2 punch there for the Showboats in the spring here. The Michigan Panthers, they signed Guardians wide receiver Lance Lenore Jr. He was with the Panthers in 2022. Played with the Orlando Guardians and the XFL last year. Now back with Michigan. Big boost to Michigan's pass offense there. And then I mentioned the Defenders. They lost Josh Hammond to retirement. However, good news for them. They got a vet to replace him, signing former Colts wide receiver Kiki QT was last with the Colts in 2022 on a couple different practice squads last season. But veteran presence, former high draft pick. So interested to watch him on my DC Defenders. NFL news. Have to congratulate Patriots special teamer Matthew Slater on his retirement. I mean, there's never been a guy like him. I don't think there will be a guy like him again in the league. He did everything. He was the best special teams player probably of all time. Strictly a special teamer. Patriots 5th round pick, number 153 overall in 2008. Played with the Patriots his entire career, 08 to 23. 3-time Super Bowl champion. Won Super Bowls 49, 51, and 53. 5-time first team All-Pro. 3-time second team All-Pro. 10-time Pro Bowler. He's tied for second in the league in terms of Pro Bowls in his time frame. I believe Trent Williams is the only one that had more with 11. Or maybe he was tied with Trent Williams. I don't know. There was 2 people that had 10 and one that had 11 during his career. Also a part of the Patriots All 2010s team. Played 239 regular season games, 191 tackles, 138 of them solos. 2 tackles for loss, which I don't even know how those came about because he didn't play defense. He was a wide receiver by trade, technically. 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. And then in the playoffs, played 25 games, 22 tackles, 13 of them solos. You're going to get mad. He's a Hall of Famer.
No, I agree. I think he has a better Hall of Fame argument than Devin Hester. Not even kidding. I think Matthew Slater is genuinely more deserving of a Hall of Fame jacket than Devin Hester. And I mean, he probably won't be first ballot. I think it'd be extremely difficult to justify putting a special teams player as a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I mean, I would not be shocked, and I think he should. He played that well. I mean, it's super rare to see any player whatsoever not only be known for special teams, but actually make a noticeable impact while being a special teamer, especially if you're not a kicker or punter. But he did. You knew where Matthew Slater was on the field because he played that position super well. I mean, it's hard to look at him and not think, just positive impact on every single special teams play. And I mean, you look at the resume, it's hard to argue against this guy. He had a 15-year career as a strict special teamer. He won 3 Super Bowls. He was an integral part of all 3. 5-time first team All-Pro, 3-time second team, 10-time Pro Bowler. The Patriots all 2010 team. I mean, that's impressive on its own because those 2010 Patriots teams won 3 Super Bowls, all of which he played on. I mean, it's hard to look away from this resume, especially as a special teamer, and think he's not head and shoulders above basically all of his contemporaries in similar positions. So yeah, Hall of Famer, 100% agree.
The next thing up here, the NFL salary cap was announced this week. It's a massive one, $30.6 million raise from last season. $255.4 million will be the cap for 2024. And the people that are, licking their lips the most, the players, dude, the free agents of this offseason, they're like, dude, I'm going to get paid. Because every single team now has that much more money to spend. And I don't know if Spot Track has updated the salary cap on here. I think so. I think they have. Usually it tells you. Maybe over the cap is better. I like over the cap kind of. I can't remember which one here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. They both have the same, I think. But it should be. Yeah, okay. So yes, over the cap has the base salary cap, yeah. 255.4. So yeah. Washington almost 80 million, same with the Titans and Bears and Patriots. They're all up there. And now with that boost in cap in cash, there's only 8 teams that are over the cap currently. The 49ers, Browns, Cowboys, Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, Saints, and the Bills. Saints are actually not last for once. The Bills are 4 million over the cap more than the Saints are right now.
Yeah, good luck to those guys still trying to dig themselves out of it. And also, thank you, Taylor Swift, for increasing the monetary revenue of the NFL. Because I call this the Swift bump, because holy crap, what a bump in salary cap space this was.
That's not why.
Nah, come on.
No, it's not.
We had a blank space, and she filled it with cap space, man.
The reason why it jumped so far was, for one, the increase in TV revenues that they got in the new contracts, and for two, teams paid back all the cash, all the money that they deferred from the COVID years. So that is why there is more cap room.
I won't let that get in the way of a good story.
The NFL Competition Committee discussed possibility of implementing the XFL's kickoff format, and possibly could even be voting on a proposal at the March League meetings, which would be interesting. We really haven't had a major rule change in a while in the NFL, since probably pass interference, I would think. So, yeah,
I'd be a fan of it. I've always genuinely liked the XFL's kickoffs. I feel like they're safer, and I feel like they actually cause action on kickoffs. Half the time, I just go into the kitchen and get myself some food or get a drink when kickoffs are happening because I know nothing's going to happen. It's like they're going to kick it. They're either going to kick it out of the end zone, or since they can just fair catch it, even if it's not in the end zone, they're just going to do that. Maybe 5% of the time they'll take a chance, and then it's like, whatever. I really do like the XFL's rules. I think it's very innovative, and I mean, it could work with the higher talent level that the NFL has, not only in players but in coaching and scheming, and seeing how how teams can scheme these new kickoffs and how creative can they get. Because the XFL got creative, and I think they're just better minds in the NFL and the coaching staff, especially with special teams coordinators. I think we could see, kickoffs be great. MKGA, make kickoffs great again. Let's do it.
Yeah, and this is something that the NFL has been looking at. They do want to keep the kickoff return in the game, and so it would increase kickoff returns tremendously, as we've seen with the XFLs and kickoff format now transferring it to the UFL this season. The stats are there, so yeah, I'd be a fan, and then we could have someone like Devin Hester once again in the league, because there would actually be kickoff returns once again.
Oh yeah, that's what we desperately need.
Combine. We're getting a lot of reports currently. Guys aren't working out. Guys are working out. So here's the lay of the land that I've heard so far in terms of quarterbacks, wide receivers. USC's quarterback Caleb Williams, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, they will not throw at the combine. They will go to meetings and do all the measurements and stuff, but they will not work out at the combine. They will turn to their pro days to do that stuff. The other three top 5 quarterbacks, though, Oregon, Bo Nix, Washington's Michael Penix Jr., Michigan's J.J. McCarthy, they all will work out at the combine. Massive opportunity for those 3. Haven't heard about Drake May yet. He's the only one of the top 6 quarterbacks haven't heard about yet.
Yeah, I'm very interested to seeing J.J. McCarthy throw, because he didn't throw all fucking season. So, I mean, we actually get to see him throw the ball this time.
Yeah, I'm told people are going to be impressed by JJ. But we shall see. And it's interesting also, the guys that aren't working out, Williams and Daniels. And if May doesn't work out either, the 40 is really not going to matter for the quarterbacks in terms of the top guys. Because that's Williams, Daniels, and May are the 3 that can really run of the top 6. especially Daniels. Obviously, people are really interested in what his 40 time would be.
Mhm.
But without those three working out, I don't really think the 40 is going to be a big spectacle for quarterbacks. I am interested, though, to see Michael Penix's time. I would be interested to see his, and really interested to see what Joe Milton runs, because I want to know, because he looked slow as hell at the Senior Bowl. So, in terms of wide receivers, this one is really intriguing. Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. He's not going to work out at the combine. He's also not going to work out at his pro day. That is an interesting move.
It's ballsy, but I get it. I think he knows he's the number one wide receiver. He's probably a top 5 pick. Most likely, he's probably going to Arizona. There's no reason to risk your stock. You're probably going to be the highest non QB draft in this draft. There's nowhere to go but down with these workouts. And as long as you have a good PR team and can just basically talk like a politician, just be like, oh, here's why I'm not doing it. I'd rather do these things that I think are more beneficial to my career. No one's going to, in my opinion, no one's going to really bat an eye. It is pretty unique, especially not doing pro day, because a lot of guys like to do pro day to avoid doing the combine. But I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to overthink this. I think he knows, A, I'm the number one wide receiver. B, I'm the number one non QB. C, there's a good chance I'm going to Arizona. So there's no real risk. I mean, no real reason to risk, a bad showing or an injury. Let's just avoid that at all costs.
He could also go to New England. Just saying.
He could. In my mock draft, I do have New England trading out. So that's kind of why I don't have MHJ going to New England.
But yeah, I don't think that every team has him as the number one wide receiver, because there is a lot of competition at the top. And that's why I'm saying, so LSU's wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, he won't work out at the combine. He'll do his pro day. But Washington's Rome Odunze is going to work out. So I'm just wondering, though, if Odunze goes out there and balls out at the combine, does Harrison then think, crap, I got to work out at the pro day now, when apparently he hasn't even been training for the combine drills?
I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty big risk from Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think he probably just has the mentality that I just mentioned. He probably does see himself as the top wide receiver, even if Rome Odunze has a good showing. Yeah, it's just can MHJ justify this to scouts and front offices? Can he look at teams like, hey, this is why I'm not working out in these situations. Here's why I'm not, doing combine drills and pro day. I'm focusing on certain other things. He's going to have to put on a politician's face and be like, okay, here's how I sell this. Yeah. But again, I think MHJ, to me, in terms of wide receiver draft board, he's number one. Even if Rome Odunze is a great combine, I can't shake MHJ off the top.
Yeah, I probably agree. But I'm really interested. I want to watch Bo Nix. Really excited to see him sling it. And Michael Penix. Those two are kind of tied together, as they were all season, as the top two in the Pac-12. Also, I kind of like the Caleb Williams not working out thing. I thought his interviews were going to be the most important thing for him anyways at the combine. So the fact that he can focus 100% on the interviews, I think might be good for him.
Yeah. Again, I think with Caleb Williams and MHJ, I kind of have the same mentality. It's just everyone knows how good you are. Everyone knows kind of where they have you in the draft boards. The best thing you could do right now is make yourself a PR darling. Make yourself a guy people want, to represent your organization. Be a guy that people want in the locker room. Be a guy that, teams and, businesses want to just represent them. And this is a great time to get a head start by just being very good in interviews, being very good with a lot of publicity. I mean, college gives you a lot of publicity, but this time they've never seen publicity like this. This is going to be all new. So getting the combine and pro day distractions out of the way, I guess, is kind of their justification. Could be very helpful in their in their ability to be very good personal PR representatives, basically of themselves, because that's what you got to do as a pro. You really got to sell yourself, and you really got to be a guy that teammates want, that coaches want, that organizations want, and sponsors want. So there's a good chance for MHJ and Caleb Williams to really get a head start.
Moving on to the coaching carousel, the Chiefs, they are beginning to do the talks with head coach Andy Reid on his new contract that would make him the highest paid coach in the NFL.
Well deserved.
Yep.
You can't argue against it. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years, 3 Super Bowl championships. I mean, and he's only doing better with less. I mean, since 2019, his team has somehow got less talented, but somehow has won more. It's genuinely impressive.
The Rams making a couple hirings. Former Falcons offense coordinator Dave Ragone has hired as QB's coach, and they also hired former Eagles defense coordinator Sean Desai in a senior defensive role. So experienced coaches getting added to McVay's staff there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 49ers, they have the lone coordinator opening left in the NFL. With Raheem, they still haven't filled the Steve Wilkes spot yet after his firing. So they interviewed former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, and in-house they have 2 candidates, 49ers defensive pass game coordinator Nick Sorensen and 49ers safeties coach Daniel Bullocks, all interviewing for the DC opening. So we'll see who Kyle Shanahan goes with in a bit. Restructures, teams trying to get under the cap and make room. Chargers, they restructured center Corey Linsley's deal, lowering his base salary from $11.5 million to the vet minimum. $10.29 million in cap space created. Likely going to retire. He said 99% he's retiring. So if he can help the team even more if he retires after June 1st, that would mean they can spread the dead cap money over to the next 2 seasons. Seahawks, they restructured quarterback Geno Smith's deal, $9.6 million roster bonus converted to a signing bonus, $4.8 million in cap space for them. The Saints, mentioned them already. Always interesting cap gymnastics in New Orleans. They restructured quarterback Derek Carr's deal, converted some of his $30 million base salary to a signing bonus, $23 million in cap space for that one. They also restructured center Eric McCoy's deal and defensive tackle Nathan Shepard. The Shepard one creates about $3 million in cap space there. Franchise tags. We have a lot of news in terms of the franchise tag, which I believe the deadline is coming up next week. I believe it's next week. I think it's the 8th is the franchise tag deadline.
March 5th.
Yeah.
Just
I was off a couple days, but
yeah. Good thing you're not a GM. You would have missed it.
I have people to tell me that. But yeah, so what we've heard so far, we have one guy tag, the Bengals. They made the move, franchise tagging wide receiver T. Higgins, $21.8 million fully guaranteed for him in 2024. And then the running backs. It was talked about today. The Raiders not going to tag Josh Jacobs, but they are going to try to re-sign him. Giants unlikely to tag Saquon Barkley, but they also, just like the Raiders, are speaking to him about re-signing. Cowboys not expected to tag Tony Pollard. Titans aren't going to tag Derrick Henry, and the Chargers are expected to allow Austin Eckler to hit free agency and explore his options out there. So total 180 from last year's running backs. It's gonna be a lot of talent at the position on the free agent market this offseason.
Yeah, gotta wonder what teams are in the market. I think the obvious team would be Ravens, Vikings, Bears. Would like to see where these guys land.
Yeah, the Eagles could be one, depending
Eagles
on
would make a lot of sense.
depending on what they do with DeAndre Swift. He's a free agent, so they got to determine on whether they want to sign him. I did see something about them signing Tony Pollard, which I would be totally against. He's not. He's good as a 2. He's not an RB1 as he showed last year in Dallas. So,
I think he'd be good if you kept Swift.
Or the Eagles can bring the prodigal son home and bring the Penn State legend home. Saquon Barkley can become an Eagle, which I would absolutely go bonkers for, and so would everybody in Pennsylvania.
That would be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Not gonna read that one.
Listen, it was breaking news. I didn't know if you want to talk about it. Nah. All right.
Releases. Couple interesting names hitting free agency early. The Lions, they released safety Tracy Walker. We're just talking about the Eagles. That's like the number one landing spot right now for Tracy Walker is Philadelphia. They need safety help. Couple other teams as well, I'm sure, interested, but he is now a free agent. The Steelers, they released center Mason Cole as well, so they're going to look for center help in the draft and or free agency. And then the Dolphins expected to release linebacker Emmanuel Ogbah and the bigger one, corner Xavier Howard at the start of free agency. So yeah. Eagles are in on it. Eagles and Steelers are in on him too.
Dude, come on. Let's get that Xavier Howard, Brian Flores reunion, baby. Woo! That's what I want.
Hey, man, we got a DC in Philly too. Vic Fangio.
Yeah, but I'm Brian Flores.
He coached him too. He coached him.
I already didn't like him. I'm not saying it.
But yeah, he's sure to have a market. Signings. The Ravens, they signed wide receiver Nelson Aguilar to a 1-year extension, keeping him in Baltimore. The Rams re-signed wide receiver Demarcus Robinson, a 1-year, $5 million deal. Excellent season out of nowhere for Demarcus Robinson in LA, so he stays there. The Lions, they re-signed kicker Michael Badgley to a 1-year deal. Eagles re-signing tight end Albert Owubenum to a 1-year deal. Alberto staying in Philly. And then the Chiefs signing former Bills punter Matt Ariza. Maybe some competition for Tommy Townsend there in KC. And then the Eagles, they signed former 49ers third-round running back Tyrion Davis-Price to a reserve futures contract.
And we do have another contract signing that just happened very recently. I got one. Don't worry. Announced by his agent, Jalen Reeves-Maybin has signed a contract extension with the Detroit Lions. 2 years, $7.5 million, worth a max of $8 million. will make him the highest paid core special teamer ever.
On the show where we have Matthew Slater's retirement.
Welcome back, Matthew Slater.
All right, let's get into how bad I was in picks this year.
Love it.
Actually, Texas, I was right. I was spot on Texas the whole year. 11-1. That's exactly what they went. They won the Big 12 like I said they would, and just fell short in the CFP semifinal to Washington. I had Oklahoma at 2. Now they so they went 10-2. I was right on that one as well. However, they did not make the Big 12 championship because of their loss to Oklahoma State. So I was a little off on that one. Kansas, I had 9-3. I believe I hit on that one as well. Or no, okay, they went 8-4, but they did get the 9 wins in the bowl game. So 8-4 there, 1 game off on Kansas. UCF, first year in the Big 12, I had them going 9-3. Yeah, it didn't work out so well. They went 6-6. But I had high hopes for John Rice Plumlee and the Knights there in the bounce house. Talk about wrong. Cincinnati.
Yikes.
A little bit off. Just tiny bit. I had them in 5th place, 9-3. That's because I completely forgot about the Luke Fickell move and how many players they lost. Yeah, they finished last in the Big 12, 3-9. Kansas State, I was right on, I believe. Let's see. Did they win or lose? Okay, so yeah, I was right on. 8-4. 8-4. Had them finishing. I had them finishing 1 position lower. They actually finished in 5th place in the conference. TCU 8-4. Yeah, no, they went 5-7. So that was cool. The Horned Frogs did not do well for me there. BYU, I was close. They went 5-7, little off there. I'm trying to see. So yeah, I had them 8th place. They finished 3rd to last because of a 2-7 conference record. Oklahoma State was also one I was very off on. I had them 6-6. They went 9-3. 9-3. Finished 2nd as the runner-up in the Big 12 championship game. Houston, 1 game off, 5-7. They went 4-8. And I had them 1 position above where they finished. They finished 4th to last, and I'm finishing 5th. Texas Tech, 5-7 for me. However, they ended up going 6-6. So a bunch of ones that I was just 1 game off on. Let's see. Baylor, I was 2 games off, 5-7. They went 3-9, finished 2nd to last in the conference. So I had them finishing a spot above that. Iowa State, West Virginia, I was totally off on those 2. 4-8 for Iowa State for me. They actually went 6-6 or 7-5. I mean, 7-5 for Iowa State. They finished 4th in the conference because of a 6-3 conference record. West Virginia totally surprised me. 2-10 for me. Neil Brown got that team to go 8-4. So I was not expecting that from the Mountaineers this season. At the top, though, it's pretty good. Big Ten was fantastic. And my Nittany Lions had to go 11-1. They went 10-2. So I was close on that on record wise. They did not win the Big Ten, though. Finished 3rd in the East. Michigan, I had 11-1. They went 12-0. So again, close. And I had them as the second best, technically third best because Wisconsin should have been second because of the divisional format. Wisconsin, 11-1. The Badgers. Yeah, I thought they were gonna do well. Under Fickle in year one, just did not work out. Tanner Mordecai got hurt, so I think that kind of killed the season. But the Badgers ended up going 7-5, third in the West. Ohio State, 9-3 for me. They ended up going 11-1. I just didn't believe. I didn't believe in the Buckeyes and their quarterback situation.
Well, to be fair, even after the season, it was still a bad situation. We're not going to deny that. It's just that every other facet of that team was fantastic.
Yeah. Iowa. I was close on Iowa. I don't know how many people had Iowa being that good, but I was one game off. They went 10-2 in the regular season. I had them going 9-3. Maryland, 8-4. I believe I was spot on. No, okay, I was one game off. They went 7-5. It always throws me off. I got to check the bowl games to see what all these teams went, but 8-4. I had them finishing 6th in the conference, and just like quickly doing a check there. No, it looks like they would have finished 7th because their conference record overall at 4-5. The Gophers, Minnesota at 6-6. I was right. I was one game off. They were the lone 5-7 team to get into a bowl game this year. But 5-7 in reality, 6-6 on my board. Close. However, they would have finished third to last because of conference record. They finished last in the West. Nebraska at 6-6. I was one game off on Matt Rule's first year in Lincoln. 5-7 there. Purdue at 5-7. They were also one game off. They went 4-8. Illinois at 4-8. Another one game off situation. 5-7 in reality. Michigan State 4-8. Hit that one spot on. Just a couple positions above where they actually finished. They would have finished second to last overall in the conference. Rutgers at 4-8. They surprised me. Greg Schiano got it done in Jersey this year. They went 6-6. Indiana at 3-9 hit that one right on. However, they finished one position above what I thought they would, or they finished one position below what I thought they would. They finished last in the conference. I had them finishing second to last. Northwestern was a surpriser of the season in the Big Ten. I feel like new head coach Ryan Braun was the interim this year and got that team to a 7-5 record, second in the West. I had them going 2-10 like I thought everyone else did too.
Yeah.
So
there was a bad outlook for this Northwestern team coming into this season, and Ryan Braun really got this team to win games they probably shouldn't have won on paper, and with a new Ryan Field coming up in the near future, and hopefully this Northwestern program can move on from some pretty nasty allegations. Maybe this can be a new leaf for this program.
My bad. It's David Braun.
David.
Ryan Braun's the baseball player.
Yeah, Ryan Braun's the juicer for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
But anyway, I heard Ryan Braun, and my first thought was, oh, that's funny. He's named after the former Milwaukee Brewers player. I knew it was
Braun. It's just David Braun.
Hey, If it helps, I fully believed you, and I just went along with it.
Well, it went along with the segment. I was wrong on so many other things, so why not? And
Why not just keep it going?
Yeah. All right, I forgot to change this slide, but anyways, next Monday we'll be back talking combine thoughts. We'll recap the combine, and then let's see. On Friday we're gonna do Conference USA and FBS Independence. So that means next Monday we'll talk Maction and the Mountain West in terms of how my predictions fared there. So yeah, that's the show for today. Quick one, under an hour. Jimmy, go learn something in class.
Dude, night classes, man. Night classes when you're in your final semester of school just really kick the crap out of you.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA _bets as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. And TikTok at Football Addicts and On. We will see y'all back. Hopefully, we'll get some really cool guests coming up in the next couple of weeks. But we'll see y'all back Football Friday.